Okay, so we have already done a how to wing foil video, but we have updates. So this is a guide, a beginner guide for 2022 on how to wing foil. Let's get into it.
Thank you so much everybody for tuning in. We got such an incredible show for you today. So what we're looking at today is we want to take you through everything you need to know, the basics to make sure that your wing foiling movement or kind of efforts to get into this sport is easy, friendly, and productive and not counterproductive. So we're going to get to it and we're going to go through the best steps to take to get started and make sure your process is spot on and easy for you and you enjoy the ride the whole way through. First thing.
Yeah, just what we should mention is wing foiling is not easy. So this is why we make these videos, is to make it as easy as it can be for you. But you know, get ready, like you're gonna have to be persistent. You're gonna have to keep at it because it can be frustrating at times. But this is why we do it, to show you how exactly to do it. So first thing would be, Damien.
So the first thing you want to do is definitely wherever you're located in the world, just type in wing foil, type in kite surfing maybe, and see if there's a local shop near you and give them a call, introduce yourself, go meet up with them. Maybe you can take a lesson, maybe you can learn a little bit more about gear, conditions, where they go out, how it kind of works in that area, or you can maybe find a shop that's close to you that is going to have a little more information than just knowing nothing. Now obviously we have a bunch of tutorials that we've done already throughout this whole wing foiling career that we've done for over a year now. So there's tons of videos that we have that hopefully can help you. But I would say first step is see what you can find locally to get some information. And then the next step is gear.
Yeah, so you are ready to commit. You are so pumped to get into wing foiling and you need gear. So gear will make a huge difference. If you get something that is not appropriate for you, it's gonna be a huge struggle. It will be anyway, but even more. So we would say, like, for somebody our size, I would say for a board you want something that floats you, and I think that would be somewhere around 100 to 110 liters for somebody that would be 5'8", 160 pounds. Now my wife, she's about the same height but lighter. She can get away with 90 liters. And then for somebody that would be heavier, you could even go to like 130 liters. But a board that will be, like stable and allow you to float in a stable way is going to make a huge difference. So that would be for the board, and then for the foil.
Yeah, so the last thing I'd say with the board is, look, even if you start with a 140 liter board or 150 liter board, it's only going to help you in the first learning process. So don't be afraid to go too big. You can always flip it to your friend who's ready to learn. So just know, just because I'm small doesn't mean I can't use a bigger board. One of the best wing foilers in the world, Balls Mueller, used a 140 liter board, and he's definitely not even close to 170 pounds.
Yeah.
So,
and you can use it for your light wind board as well.
Exactly. So there's no reason why you need to go super small. Get something nice and stable you can stand on, like Gwen said. Now we got to pick a foil. So common mistakes that you don't want to do. You don't want to just buy the cheapest thing online. You don't want to find a deal. You don't want to literally buy something on Craigslist or a buddy had and he wants to get rid of it, because that's usually the evolutions evolve so quick that you want to be on the most helpful equipment that you may pay more, but you're going to learn a lot quicker versus just struggling your life away. So saying that, I personally would recommend a mid-aspect foil. There's three types of foils. There's super low aspect, lots of drag. They're stable, they will work. A medium aspect will give you the best of both worlds. You'll be able to go a little bit quicker on it, but it'll also work in light winds. A high aspect is definitely meant for a little bit more performance. It will totally work as well, but I think a good move would be a medium aspect, and I would say something larger, which is larger surface area, which is going to give you the most lift in the lightest amount of winds.
Yeah, I would say, if you can, when it's time to buy your foil, maybe reach out to a shop. rather than maybe buying something used from somebody that might not tell you much about it. So that way you kind of like still get some guidance for the small details. But I think for the foil that pretty much covers it. But now let's talk about the hand wing. So out of all of the models that are out there, I don't think it would make a huge difference, other than what you need to really consider is the size of the wing, and that will depend pretty much on the location where you live and the kind of wind that you get. So you also need to know that, like, if you go with a small wing, that means you have to go in stronger winds, which might make the water like a bit tricky to learn because it's going to be very choppy. And or if you go with a big wing, you're going to go in light wind, but then it's going to be very big and maybe a bit harder to handle. So a good middle ground here would be maybe a 5-meter wing that would allow you to go. You need to know in that will be actually our next point, is the kind of condition that you can go. But a 5-meter wing is going to allow you to go in maybe the most
range of conditions. Yeah. I would say spot on right there. I would say, look, if you're in a lighter wind place, which you'll find out, do your research. Anywhere from a 6, 7, or 8 is going to be a perfect size for you. If you're in a higher wind spot, I'd say a 4, 3, and maybe smaller. But I would say, like Gwen said, the 5 meter is a good go-to first wing to get your hands on. But do your due diligence. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody who's wing foiling near you and just shoot them a note and say, hey, I'm new to this. The greatest part about wing foiling is everybody's here to help you, and you'll realize that once you get into this sport. So don't be afraid to reach out to anybody that looks like they're similar weight, size, maybe been wing foiling. Feel free to blow up Gwen. We'll go from there.
And for sure, you can start with just one wing. Yeah, it would be amazing to start with 3 wings, but you want to get into the sport, you might not exactly know if you are like fully ready to commit. Just start with one wing, and that's what I did for pretty much the first, almost the first year. I had only one 5-meter wing, and it was really good. I could go in most conditions. So you don't have to break the bank and go buy 3 wings right from the beginning.
Just to get started, yeah. And the next step, I would say, we kind of skip. We'll talk about the mast real quick. The mast length of your foil. I would say, look, the lower you go or the smaller you go is just going to be more comfort friendly. As you start foiling, a little bit longer actually gives you more room for going over chop. But I would say that's a little bit more minor. I would say just get yourself any foil that matches with that wing.
Yeah. So the next thing would be the kind of condition. And this is something that's very important, because if you go out in the wrong conditions, it's just gonna make that learning process that much harder. So you don't want it to be too windy, you don't want it to be not windy enough. And so, talking numbers, that would be in wind range, I would say somewhere around 20 miles per hour wind. That would be your
ideal conditions.
Your sweet spot.
Yeah.
Below 15 is gonna be very tricky, and then maybe above 25, 30, it could be a bit harder with the chop.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that we need to talk about is the water. You want flat water. Here we are on the ocean in Jupiter, which is not always ideal for beginners, because we do have shore break, we do have waves. So around here, for example, the best beginner spot would be on the intercoastal, because it is
you have land blocking the wind.
Exactly. So you won't have too much chop, you won't have waves, you won't have shore break, and that is ideal. So for you, it might be the ocean, depending on where you are, but if not, it could be a lake, or like here, it could be in the intercoastal, the river if you are in Hood River.
Yeah, and lakes, you can do it in lakes, you can do it on, if you're in, if it's winter time where you're at right now, you can grab a pair of ice skates or a pair of skis or snowboard and go to a lake, and you can work on the same concept of all this on the snow before you even go to the water. So location is super important, like Gwen said. It's literally the most important point, is knowing the weather, picking the right conditions. Like he said, 20 miles per hour is hands down the best. You want a little more to start with. It's just going to give you more ability to get going and to do stuff. But I would say the other thing that's really important is knowing weather, right? So we need to know wind directions. So which wind directions do I go on? So like on a day like today, you know, it's a beautiful day here, but if the winds were straight offshore, I may go to the Bahamas. So that's not an ideal choice for me to go out if the winds were straight offshore. Ideal conditions would be side shore conditions if you're on an ocean. And I would say hardest conditions will be straight on shore, because if you're sitting there and it's blowing you onto the beach all the time, all that's going to happen is you're going to keep hitting bottom. So those are hard conditions. And the wing's trying to tell us that it's time for us to get out on the water. Another really important thing to think about is make sure you know wherever you chose. Let's just say I chose behind a jetty in the ocean, nice and blocked, so I have nice flat water. But what I also want to know is there any pilings or rocks or things that I need to worry about? So make sure you assess your whole scenario before you go out. Are there, you know, swimmers? Is there, you know, just so you're safe, where's my exit? Where am I going to exit when I go downwind, when I struggle? How do I get out, and how am I going to be safe in this learning process?
Yeah, and it's good to know before you go in the water. Like you said, like, okay, this is, you know, often when you start, you're gonna end up going downwind. So look what is downwind, and then set yourself a point where you are like, this is my turnaround point. Because once you get going, sometimes you forget. You are like, you get up, you are excited. I finally got up. I don't want to fall. I don't want to turn around because I'm gonna fall. So I just keep going very far, and then that might be too late. So that when you turn around, you actually end up way too downwind, and maybe there is something where you don't want to go. So set yourself a goal, and this is where I'm going to turn around every time, and this is how I'm going to walk back to where I started.
Yeah, and a key point before you even go out is let's find some. iKitesurf is a great app that tells you weather. Look at your local weather channels or locations, or there's webcams to tell you. So you know all these locations that you can learn as much info you can on weather, whether you got storms coming, you don't want gusty, gnarly, you know, lightning. So do your research to know that you have apps ready so you're comfortable with the weather. And knowing that is really going to help you. That's something that's just, it's kind of like getting into your car. If you get in your car without gas in it, it's probably not going to go so well. So you just want to be prepared, you know, maybe a coat if it's snowing out. So these are those preparations that you want to do the same thing with wing foiling.
So now you got your gear, you know the location, the condition is good to go, you are at the beach ready to go. First thing, make sure that you protect yourself. You are about to learn, you're going to fall and you could hurt yourself. So it's never a bad idea to wear your helmet, wear impact vest, wear a wetsuit. I mean, even if the water is warm on your knees, you know, and on your feet, you might get chafed up from just like climbing on the board, being on your knees for so long. So you want to protect yourself so that, you know, you can go the next day and you don't have like wounds everywhere and now you have to wait. So protect yourself, wear everything that you have, so that you are safe.
No, for sure. You want anything to cover your knees, the tops of your feet get chafed. So all these are things that we've learned throughout the process that are really good to help you guys so that you don't have all the scars that we have. So hopefully that'll help you. The next thing I would say is when you get to the beach and you have all your gear. So first off, I would say spend a lot of time at the beach or at your house, wherever. Grab that wing and fly that wing as much as you can, because the more in tune you can get with that wing, the more that session on the water, the session on the snow, or the session on the skateboard, however you want to play with it when you start, is going to get better and you're going to learn faster. So put some time just flying the wing. Start with the basics and flying the wing, but fly that wing a lot before you just grab it and go right to the water. It's going to make a big difference in your 1, walking time, 2, chafing time, and then 3, walking time, 4, walking time.
And if you wanna, we have a video dedicated to how to fly the wing on the beach. So I would definitely recommend that you go check it out. It will be either right here or right there. I don't know where it will be, but somewhere. It's gonna pop up right now. So now let's get into the wing handling part of it, which is important. So you wanna, here Damien, you show me how you handle the wing. Explain to me, knowing that for you guys watching, let's say that the wind is coming 90 degrees to the camera here, so it's going straight across like that. So the wind right now is blowing just like that. So
and an easy thing for you when you first get your wing, just pump it up and hold the center right in the front. It's going to tell you exactly where the wind's blowing. So right now the wind is blowing directly this way because I'm holding it dead center, and it's just going to oscillate with the wind. So that's going to tell you that right now I know I can draw a line that the wind's blowing like this, and that means that 90 degrees to that angle is my directions if I were to try to ride to this direction or to this direction will be 90 degrees to that angle. So just so you know, but what I would do is I would pick the wing up. I'd come down to the beach. How do I even grab this? How do I even do anything? The most important thing is always go from the front to the back when you grab the wing. So you want to go, I don't want to just go to the back, because if I grab the back and I let go of the front, you're going to be crashing. So you always want to start from the front, and I'm going to slowly walk my way up. And then you can get both hands on it. Let's simplify. The wing only has power when I put it directly into the wind and I put tension. So if I just let this weather vane like a kite, it'll just sit here no matter how I have it. But when I get my hands on it and I pull on that back, this is when all the power happens. So it's whenever I put pressure on this back, gives me all the power and the energy of the kite. So if I just let it off on the front, it's just going to weather vane. So the trick is to come down to the beach, start playing with it, start working on how this wing works to go and to be able to just hold it and fly it on the beach so that you get comfortable on how this works. Some of the biggest tips that we can give you guys are, you want it to be lifting you, and as you get going in time, you'll get it down like this, but everybody catches the wing tips. So try to make the wing work for you, and if anything, it's more above your head guidance to kind of pull you along than it is like this, because then you'll just always be struggling and hitting it. So this is what I would start with on the beach to just learn the basics.
Yeah, now one thing that I would say, like, it might be like very basic, but knowing which hand goes on top, which hand goes at the bottom. So now the wind is directly in my back. If I want to go toward the camera, toward you guys, this is the hand that's going to be in front. So when I grab the front handle, I grab it with this hand. I don't want to do an extra step and go here, here, and then like that. There is no point. So I need to know which direction I'm going when I go from here. I'm going to go this way, so this hand is going to grab the front handle. I grab the front handle, back handle, and here I am ready to go. If I want to go the other way, then that hand, like that, is going to go on the front handle. So right away, this is how I grab it. And it will be the same when you are up on the board, to know which foot goes forward and which foot goes back, because that can be confusing if you have never been on a surfboard. It's going to be the exact same thing. My back, the wind is coming in my back. So if I want to go this direction, then this is the foot. I'm never going to be my front toward and then standing just like that.
So another really important thing is just what Gwen was saying. We know the wind's at our back, right? Know also, if that wind is at your back, look what's in front of you, because that's where you're going to end up going when you go into the water. You're going to end up going where the wind is. So just know what's in front of you. That's where you're going to end up learning and going downwind.
Okay, so you have been practicing the wing handling on the beach. You feel pretty comfortable, and now it's time to hit the water. You have your protection gear on. We're going to go into how to carry the gear. One of the first thing is, we just said the wind is coming straight across here, so it's blowing in toward there. You always want your wing to be downwind. So let's say I'm right here, this would be upwind of me, and this would be downwind of me. The wing is naturally gonna float right here, it's gonna stay right here. So you don't wanna be carrying your wing this way, otherwise it's not gonna work. So your wing is downwind and it's just floating in the wind. So if I would go toward the beach there, I would keep the foil away from my wing. So I'm gonna carry, most boards have a handle in the bottom, but if you don't, you can just grab the mast, and then this is how I'm gonna walk toward the water. If the water is in my back, like where I am right now, I would just turn around, I still keep the wing downwind, I grab the mast, and then this is how I'm gonna walk. This would be pretty much the easiest way to always carry your gear.
Let's talk about, I'm kind of feeling pretty good flying the wing. I understand how to hold it. A couple really good points you can use either going into the water or right before if you haven't put your foil on, and I have my board right here in front of me, is how am I going to get out in the water and how am I going to climb up on this thing. So you can actually practice on land and know that all wings will come with a leash. It hangs off the front, and you'll see multiple different leash attachments, but more importantly, as long as it's attached to you. Really, I can just let the wing go and I can swim on top of the board, so it'll look something like this. And I can paddle out. I can put my foot over it like this, and I can take it out with me. These are all the simple ways to get out. Now the hardest part is, how do I get up on the board and fly the wing? So on land, you can go over this, and there's a few ways, and we'll just give you our best tips to hopefully simplify your life. What I would say is, like Gwen said, if I'm gonna go to my left, I would take my left hand, I'm gonna pin my handle, I'm gonna grab it, and I'm gonna actually literally leverage this wing against the water, so the back of the wing is touching the water really hard. And what that does is it kind of gives me like a pedestal off my arm, so I can like lean on the wing. So now I can actually, maybe I have bad knees, maybe I'm older, I can slowly get up on this, and the wind will just be hitting this, but I'm kind of using it as like a tripod. So now I can kind of balance on the board, and now I know when I'm ready, this backhand's just gonna go, and I'm gonna lift up, grab that back. Now I don't want to just grab it all, it'll probably pull me right over. So the trick is to just be nice and finesse and slowly put a little tension in, so that now I have nice stability, and if I feel like I'm getting pulled forward, I let off, and if I feel like I'm falling back, I pull in, and a little more wind will grab it and it'll catch me. And this is a good way to simply get started after a crash, or a way to kind of feel it or get used to it.
Yeah, what I would say is, when you are on your board, the most unstable position is going to be when you are standing on your board and you have no tension, you can't hold to anything. Like right now, this would be the hardest position on the water, because now I'm falling. And that's the chop. The chop is doing that to you the entire time. So now, if I'm like stable, the chop is not affecting me. I'm here, I'm good. So that means from this stable position to this stable position, I don't want to take 15 seconds to be like,
yes, because everybody goes through that. It's
because now I'm falling. So I want to be quick. I don't want to be like too quick that I fall, but it needs to be something that I know I'm going to be here. Okay, now I have tension and I'm stable again. So this is where you want to be quick. The other thing is, don't forget that the wing, you are the one positioning the wing. So when your handle is back there, don't keep your the wing there and try to go grab it. Now you fall. You can move the wing.
Lift it above your head.
When I want to grab the back handle, right now it's far, now it's right here. So move the wing above your head so that you can catch it, the back handle, and it's right close to you. You don't have to go, and grab it. So the second technique to get up.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm
Killing
gonna
it.
flip the bird. Okay, and this is the technique that personally I liked better. So we climb on the bird, I go on my knees, and now again, if there is chop, if I want to be stable, I'm gonna use the wing on the water so that I'm like not just balancing on my knees. And then again, I know right now the bird is pointing toward you guys.
Because the wind's blowing like this.
90 degrees
So
to
he's
the wind.
90 degrees.
So my right hand is gonna grab the front handle. So same thing, and then I grab it above my head so that the back handle is right
The wind
here.
is just going right through this, right? So nothing's happening.
And it's the same principle of I go from a stable position, unstable, 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 stable. So that unstable time, I want to minimize it. That's why I want to be ready. I know which hand is going to go on my front handle. It goes right here. I bring it above my head, and now I put some tension, and I have something to hold on to. So now I'm starting to go. I'm starting to like move forward because I have pressure in the wing. It's like a boat. It's like a sailboat. I'm going. One thing that's going to happen naturally to everybody at first is the bird is gonna rotate and go downwind.
Straight downwind.
So now, when you are a beginner, and that's why you're always gonna have to walk back, but you wanna avoid that as much as possible. So you wanna feel how you can keep the bird either 90 degrees to the wind, or even more better, a little bit toward the wind. And how to do that, sometimes you have to move on the bird even 1 inch or 2 inches back on the bird. To me, I feel like this is helping. And then when I grab the wing, I'm gonna maybe twist my body a bit. So I'm gonna twist this way, because if we think about it, if my wing is in front of me and the wind is pushing, so you push my, I go downwind. If the wing is behind me and the wind is pushing on my wing, now what happens? Push on my hand, my bird goes upwind. So this is why I want to try to twist my body to bring my wing back.
Because then when I push, it turns the board.
And boom, it brings me upwind. So this is something that's very important, because if you go just, keep in mind, you want to go upwind. If you go 90 degrees, it's great, you are not technically losing ground, but what's gonna happen is you're gonna fall at some point. And that time when you're gonna climb back on your bird, you already drifted downwind. So, in my opinion, when you get going, you should always have a goal. This is 90 degrees to the wind. I wanna see something. Maybe I see there is a building. Maybe I see on the shore, like, I know.
Mark a point every time.
Yeah,
Very important, mark a point.
And I look there. This is where the nose of my bird should be pointed. We went from our knees, so now we need to get up.
Gwen nailed the most important tips, and we'll just one time go over this real quick. When you first start, your board is gonna try to go straight downwind. Just do everything in your part. Pick a spot on the horizon that's within 90 degrees to that wind angle. Lock it so I can always fight to get that board sideways to it, because it's going to give you pressure in the wing. The second that board goes straight downwind, all the pressure is lost. It's the most common mistake, and it's something you really should work on. All right.
And then when you show up to the spot, look at how everybody is riding. All of the good riders are going to be going pretty much either 90 degrees or like slightly upwind. So this is the direction that you are going to be traveling.
Exactly.
So I'm on my knees, and now I'm starting to pick up some speed. And I'm about 90 degrees to the wind, so I'm good, I'm not losing ground. So now the first thing is I'm gonna wanna put my front foot forward. My front foot up. So
just think, if I'm going to my right, I'm gonna put my right foot forward. If I'm going to my left, I'm gonna put my left foot forward.
Yeah, depending on, the wind is in your back.
Wind is always in your back.
My right foot is gonna go up. So that's the first step. Right foot up. Now, I'm like stable position, okay? I'm used to it, I'm stable, I'm good. I can put my back foot up, and I want to be low because this is how I'm going to be the most stable. I want to keep pressure in my backhand so that I have something to hold on to, and I don't want to be like bent over, like I'm getting like the wind is just pushing me downwind pretty much. I want to try to be like,
tuck those hips in.
I want to be against, so basically if you apply a tiny bit of pressure on my back, now I'm resting on that. He's not pushing me and I'm just like about to fall.
This is not a good position. This is a good position.
I'm gonna be. If I, like we talked about it before, if I feel like I'm falling back, I put more pressure. If I feel like it's taking me, maybe I release.
Yeah, so if the wind blows really hard and he has too much, and the wind pushes, he's gonna let out the back. If he has not enough, he pulls in on the back. Too much, not enough.
So it's a constant, like, this is why, like, in my opinion, like when you look at somebody going just straight, it might feel like very boring, but it's very engaging.
There's a lot going on.
Because you are always doing micro adjustment, and it is micro adjustment. So it's not big movements, and even more when we're gonna get to the step where we go up on foil. But for now, everything is minimal movement, and at first you're gonna be doing big movement. That's okay, you get used to it. But think about, you wanna try to be stable, you wanna try to make micro adjustments. So now I'm on my feet and I get going. What's gonna happen?
You're gonna crash.
Either you're gonna crash or again you're gonna go downwind. So like you get on your knees, you start to get power in your wing, you're gonna go downwind, you have to solve that problem. You're gonna go from your knees to your feet. The second you're gonna get on your feet, most of the time you're gonna start to go downwind. Again, you have to fix that problem, because if you just keep going downwind, it's okay. You're just gonna have to walk, and your session is gonna be like more time walking than on the water. So it's the same principle. If I'm going too much downwind, I can apply more pressure to my back foot. Yeah. I can try to twist my body and put my wing a bit back. And if that's not even enough, I could even move a tiny bit back. But we are talking like maybe an inch or two. Maybe I'll move just my front foot or my back foot. The point is, if I move my weight back, naturally I'm gonna go a bit more upwind.
A really good tip for this scenario when you're going through this is, when I stand on that board and I have a little pressure in that wing, I wanna take, if I'm going to my right hand forward, right foot forward, I want to take my left leg and I want to drive this hip, and I want to try to drive this back of the board. So I turn it as I put pressure. I want to drive this foot, and that's going to turn that board, that it's really going to help. So think of, I put a little pressure in, and what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to drive this back foot to make sure that board pivots, so that now I have pressure and I have leverage with the wind, and I can go sideways to the wind. If I just sit there and just hold the wing, more than likely your board is just going to turn downwind and you're going to go. So the only way to get it is, like Gwen said, you can maneuver on the board, you can drive your hip and turn the back of that board and leverage it into the wind. And that is a super helpful tip.
So now you're going to fall.
You're going to do it all over again. Over and over and over and over and over.
And you're going to fall a lot. So when you fall, what would be the best way to react when you feel like you are about to lose, you are losing balance, you are about to fall? What would be the normal thing to do?
So I would say, safety first, safety first. Look, get away from the board. The board and the foil are going to be the most dangerous for you if you hit it or come in contact with. So if you feel like you're going to fall, look, it's not a big deal. You just fall, hop off the board, whatever it is, and you let go of the wing if you want. Everything's going to get killed. The power's done. You can swim back to the board, take a breather, climb back on, start the process all over again, and just enjoy this process. But most importantly is, don't try to save it in the beginning. Just get comfortable with the basics. Even if you're not foiling, you can still ride the board just left and right, and just ride the board and learn the basics. And I would say, if you start to feel uncomfortable, just get away from the board. That's what I would say.
Yeah, don't fight it. Something that I always tell my wife because I'm scared that she's gonna get hurt, and I tell her that it's better to fall back than it is to fall forward, just because once you're gonna get up on fall, let's say you do pick up speed and the fall lift, you are up on fall, it's gonna be unstable and you're not gonna be used to it, you're gonna fall. If you fall forward and you kick the board, that's when the foil comes out and now you can fall on it. Where, like I said, if you lean into it, so that would be a problem if your position is like that. Now if I fall, I might fall forward. If I'm leaning into it, if I fall, I'm gonna fall back, and it's, I would say,
more than likely the foil goes away from you.
There is less risk if you fall back and you put pressure on your heel because you are like off balance backward. It's gonna send the foil there, not in your back. So I would say, to me, I always saying like, for beginners, I tell them it's better to fall back than to fall forward.
It's a great point.
So you fell, and as you can see now, we are like later in the video, we are actually going back, but was something that we talked about, we didn't talk about, and we need to talk about. You fell, the wing caught, now your wing is upside down, you are in the water, and you need to flip the wing. This is an important point. We need to address it, how to flip the wing. There's two techniques. One, I grab the front handle, and I'm gonna push on one side. So I push, and it's gonna lift and flip all the way.
And remember, the wind's at his back, right here.
The wind is
Very
straight in my
important.
back, and I push, it lifts, and it flips. All the way, I have my leash on, I go, I move to one tip, and now I flip it.
And the wind will push it over.
And now I go back to the center. To me, this is maybe, it just like, it's an extra step, but sometimes you have to do it, depending on how you are on the water. But again, you go to the tip, you flip it.
And do this on
back.
the beach. Do this many times on the beach. It's gonna help you perfect it in the water. Because when you're in the water, this board is moving.
Exactly.
The chop is hitting him. He's getting shaken.
Maybe have a friend that like shake you a bit.
Because it's gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be
Like
it's
that.
gonna be harder.
That's what's gonna happen in the water. So
it's tricky. It's not easy. So
you wanna
put your
practice
time
it.
in on the beach.
Push it, flip it. That's first technique. Second technique, go to the wind tip and then flip it. So that process of getting from your knees to your feet and being able to at least stay upwind or not lose too much ground, that process is not that easy and it's not going to come overnight. So
we're going to cut this, and about a month from now you come back here.
So now we're going to come back next month. See you then.
No, I'm just kidding.
So that process is going to take a while. So go out there, practice it over and over. And the key, we can't tell you how to do it all day long. The key is that you're gonna
Put
feel
the time
it,
in.
and you're gonna figure out for yourself. We are just sharing our experience from what we felt, but you have to feel it for yourself to really like understand.
And we have
what
a
we're
lot
talking
of
about.
videos that break all these steps down. So make sure if you want to find a certain step, make sure to look at the YouTube channel. We have much more that break it fine-tune on each one of these.
And everybody explains it in a different way. So go watch other videos, and there might be something that you pick up on more. But now you are to the point where you can go, you are on your feet, you can cruise both direction, and you are good. You are like, okay, what's next?
You're maybe not on foil.
You are not on foil, you are just cruising both direction, the board is on the water, but you are ready for the next step. The next step is gonna be to get up on foil. So how can I get up on foil when I am the board on the water? I would say how a foil reacts is you need to pick up speed. One of the main thing is, am I going fast enough for the foil to lift? And foils are different, so they might have a different speed that they need to get up. And that's why we always say you want a bigger foil that has more lift, that you're going to be able to go at a slower speed that feels less scary.
And same with boards. If a board is bigger, it's a bigger sticky surface area, so it's harder to get it to kind of go a little bit faster versus a smaller board. Less stickiness surface area should be able to unstick. But just picture this foil as an airplane. We need the airplane to take off.
Yeah. So the key here at first is gonna be speed. And that's why we always say, like, also, like when we talk about conditions, if you go in light wind,
it's hard to get speed.
You might not get enough speed. So now there is a pumping, but I think for now, let's not even talk about that. Right now, I feel like you just want to make it easy for yourself and eliminate anything that could get you off balance. So you want to go on a day that has enough wind, so that when you pull in on your backhand, that will pretty much be enough that you have the power, you have the speed to get up. I would say for your first few flights on your foil, if you have all of the power and that's still not fast enough, that might be a difficult day for you to experience your first flight. So go on a day, it might feel like it's a bit too windy, but that might be a good thing because you have the power to get up on foil. So you're gonna want to pick up enough speed. So you're gonna want to basically more power in your wing. I pull on my backhand, and now again, I want to try to keep my burn at least 90 degrees to the wind, if not slightly upwind. But same thing, what's gonna happen, you're gonna pull on that backhand, you have power, you pick up speed, it's starting to lift. The first feeling is gonna be that the nose is lifting up. You don't want that bird to go really up steep. That will break, it will
surface tension.
It will be like braking with your car because you want to keep the bird flat. So when you pick up speed and you are starting the speed is going to increase drastically from releasing the tension on the bottom of the bird. And you're going to want to move forward. So that could be easier with your hip. I move my hip slightly forward, I apply more weight forward, or I could just move my foot, either it's my back foot or my front foot, a tiny bit, an inch or two forward. I want to try to keep that bird on the water pretty much. I'm going to be up on foil, but I don't want to go up too steep. And then two, that's what I always say to my wife that she's learning, is you want to lean into it. You want to put pressure on your heel, not on your toes. I'm on my toes. The bird, once I get up on foil, is going to be very unstable. It's like snowboarding. When you are snowboarding, you always want an edge. If you go straight downwind with the bird flat, you could catch an edge and you're going to go down. It's exactly how it's going to feel. If you pick up speed, it's starting to lift and you are straight above. You want to be a tiny bit.
A really good, just off of what Gwen said, is go ahead and break, Gwen, like you were saying. If you were bent over like that, if you were more bent like this is the foil underneath you, right? So his body is now here, bent over this. We always want to stay in line with this foil right here. We want to be in line. That's going to be the most direct, solid, most stable, but the second I let my body go over this or behind this is the most unstable. So always be pushing at a straight angle down on that mast. So wherever that mast is, my body's in line with it will be the most stable, less issues.
Yeah. So, and then if I'm bent over, pressure on my toes, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna go downwind, the bird is gonna be unstable, and I might fall on the foil. Pressure on my heel, I lean against it. Now the bird is gonna be more likely to go upwind, and if I fall, I'm gonna be falling backward, which is a good thing.
And a quick tip here for everybody that's, when you're on the board, you know, a mistake that happens all the time is your wing just gets really low. Okay, everybody's right here. Let that wing be high so that it's actually, when the wind hits it, it's lifting you a little. That's gonna help you be light, be controlled, But the lower I get down here, those wind puffs really hit me to the side, versus if it's a little higher, it's actually helping me kind of get a little lift on the board, which maybe will help me in time accelerate that board in the motion that I'm trying to go. So just know that the wing a little higher is not going to hurt you. The wing a little lower, it can catch. Just some key tips that'll help you. Like Gwen said, if that board is coming up and it's lifting up, your reaction is hips forward, or I can slowly shift my front foot forward, because what we're trying to do is level that foil out, because a foil wants to ride level. It doesn't want to ride high, and it doesn't want to go down, or else that's going down. So you want to level it off. But know, when whatever board you're on, when it comes up, it all of a sudden will increase speed. So know that likely you're going to be like, whoa, it's going to take off. So your reaction should be hips forward, or just a slight movement on my foot. Now, Gwen said it the best. It's maybe a shimmy in your foot. A drastic step is ginormous, way too much of a move. So if anything, just shift your hips forward, counteract that lift in the foil to get it level, and don't be afraid to just put the nose back down, shift your weight back, shift it forward, and start doing touch and goes. And you can slowly feel that foil work with the littlest movement. The biggest tip we could say is foiling is not moving. Try not to make big movements. It's very minimal movements on a foil. And the trick is just put time in. Make sure to go out, try to just ride a foot off the water. You don't need to ride super high off the water. Just try to be nice and comfortable. Work on just a consistent increase in power, decrease if there's too much power, increase, decrease. And all you're trying to do is get stability, keep those hips in, use your shifting of your weight, and more importantly, the most key thing is having that board not pointing downwind.
Yeah, and it will happen, but you just need to be able to correct it, or at least understand how to correct it. So then once you are up on foil, how do you direct yourself?
So once I get up and now I'm up on foil and I'm actually up and I'm going, so there's two ways to do it. Your wing, you can let off power, which helps you whether you need to steer the board. And steering the board is just a twist in my hips where I can change that. Now remember, if I twist into the wind's coming at my back. If I twist into the wind, usually that creates a little more lift in the foil because the board is turning, the foil's lifting if I'm going into the wind. Vice versa, if I turn the board downwind, I'll lose lift because that wing is turning, flattening out, and I'm going where there's less power in the wing, I'm flattening it out. So know that when I twist my hips, if I twist, I may get a little more lift, but I can now go more into the wind. And if I have too much power in my arms, I can always just sheet out on that wing, or I can actually just let off my hips, go a little downwind, and all of a sudden that foil goes from rising to mellow out. And it's a game of finding that balance by just steering that board into the wind with lift or downwind with a little less, and then using very simple in and out power, keeping that wing nice and high, hips in, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is also a bit of where your center of balance on the board. If I lean a bit more, it might help me going more upwind. If I lean forward, it's like I'm gonna be turning. So it's kind of like surfing. I lean forward and I'm gonna be turning. I lean back and I'm gonna be turning, this way. So there is definitely a bit of leaning, and that's why I say, to me, it's better to lean more back at the beginning. All of your movements are gonna be extreme, and in my opinion, if you are gonna be extreme, it's better to be extreme leaning back rather than extreme forward. Because again, we talked about it, what could happen is you're gonna lose balance, your feet are gonna kick the board is gonna go this way, now the foil is at the surface and you are falling with your chest on it. So always leaning against the wind with pressure in your wing is gonna help you stay safe and help you direct your board easier upwind or at least 90 degrees.
And it's a really important point that right here at this moment, I've learned how to go to my right. Just know that you may have a good direction to your right or to your left. Another way may be horrendous. That's normal. Everybody has a dominant side. So just know that if I go to my right and I feel pretty good and I go to my left and I'm just horrendous, that's okay. That's 99% of the people out there. So just do the same process. I ride to my right, I stop in the water, I take a breather, I'm stoked, I'm like, this is the coolest sport ever. Climb back on the board, go through the process, try to do the same thing with my other direction, and you just work through this process, and in time, hopefully we're gonna be on the water with you winging, and Gwen and I can high five you, and that's about it.
The goal for us with this video is to bring you from being a total beginner that wants to get into the sport to the point where you can foil in both directions. Once you get there, congrats, it's an incredible feeling. Your life is changed forever. The next few steps, your progression is endless. So, this is the exciting part about the sport is there's always something to work toward. But your next step should be how to turn and basically stay up on foil, so now you can go both directions, but in between you don't have to go down and turn around. So it would be jibing, which the jibing is going to be the turn where you go downwind, you go with the wind, and that will be the first transition that you learn. And we have a video on jibing. I think it might have been with Harry the Legend, which you have to watch all of our videos, but when Harry is in the video, it's going to be good. And the next turn that will be maybe a bit more down the line, it's a bit more complicated, is the tack, which is a turn upwind, but that comes later. I would say like the jibe is the first step where like once you finally can jibe, you can stay up on foil during the entire session and you are stoked. Don't worry about the tack yet. Enjoy that for a bit, and that's already like amazing to experience.
Yeah, I would say, look, this video, like Gwen said, covered the basics. We also have videos that you should definitely check out. Wing handling on the beach, very important one. That'll go through really in depth on how to fly that wing, how to work the angles, knowing the wind, how to pump the wing. That's a whole nother process on how to pump. We have a wing video there on pumping. The next one, like he said, would be the turning. There's a lot of videos riding toe side. These are all as you progress, but what's really important that Gwen and I can't emphasize more, and that is go to the beach or go to your intercoast or go to your lake, wherever you are. Just put the time in. You got to go through the process that we all did. It's hard, you struggle, but you learn. But always come back, watch the videos, watch everybody's videos, talk to people. You're going to get knowledge, you're going to learn by trial and error. But hopefully these videos can help you make that process faster and enjoy the process and be safe along the way. So if you're looking for more information, there's a ton of videos that we put out. Hopefully this one gives you the basics so that you feel comfortable when you go out, you at least don't do what we did in the beginning.
And like we always do with all of our videos, we always live on a good note to inspire you, to help you live your best life like we do. So today, Damien, what do you have to tell them? So that, first, if you made it that far in the video, congrats, and thanks for sticking around. But
yeah, so if you made it this far in the video, first off, thank you so much. Really good job. Now, here's the reality. Look, information is given from everybody all around the world, right? Just take it, take little bits, what works for you. In life, it's about taking information that you want to learn from and use it. But the best thing that Gwen and I are always about is share it with somebody. So don't be afraid to learn this on your own, or grab as many people as you can, pull them in, because it's going to be more fun to surround yourself with good people and get out there and give it a shot. Because we always emphasize, look, you'll never learn this if you don't just give it a shot. It just takes a step, the phone call to the shop, a message to Gwen saying, hey, should I really do this? It just takes that step. So the message I would say today, very important. Surround yourself with other people that would love to give it a shot. It's only going to help you all progress faster. And two, make sure to just take that step.
I would say, don't wait. If there is something you want to do, go into it. Don't wait to have the perfect gear. Don't wait to have all of the information. Sure, you can wait for the ideal condition like we talked about, but I would say, in my opinion, go out there and experience when there is not enough wind. Go out there and experience when there is too much wind. Just go out there and you have to like enjoy the process. And it's never gonna be perfect. You're always gonna look back and be like, you know, I could have done that better, but you did it. And that's the main thing is you wanna do it, don't wait. That's it, don't wait.
And if it makes you all feel better right here, just to put it all into perspective, we do these videos. We wish they could be perfect. But you know what? We're just doing the best we can to give you as much information as we can. So look, it's the same as that. We're doing it to hopefully help you. So it's time for you to get out there and do it. And we're gonna see you guys on the water.